Welcome to day 3 of the 2024 World Wheelchair Rugby Paralympic Qualifying Tournament here at the NZCIS, the New Zealand Campus of Innovation and Sport just outside Wellington. It is day 3, it's the third and final day of the group games. We already have 3 of the semi-finalists locked in. Germany, Australia and Canada have made it all the way through. Unfortunately, not the hosts, New Zealand. They lost their first 2 group games to Brazil and the Netherlands. And those 2 countries, the Brazilians and the Dutch, are going to be fighting it out later on today in a virtual quarter-final to see who makes it through into that 4th and final semi-final slot. For New Zealand, they've got to regroup. They're going to play Canada in their final group match, and then after that they're going to be looking towards the placement matches to see whether they can finish as high as 5th, get a bit of pride back and hopefully get some all-important ranking points. But first and foremost, the first match of the day is going to see Switzerland take on Colombia. And here we are in these wonderful facilities at the New Zealand Campus of Innovation and Sport just outside Wellington. It was only inaugurated around 6 months ago, brand spanking new, and it's absolutely wonderful to be here. Here are the day's matches. Colombia versus Switzerland to see who finishes 3rd and 4th in Group A, and then that huge showdown between Brazil and the Netherlands. The winner of that goes through to the semi-finals and still is in with a shot for making it to the Paralympics. New Zealand versus Canada. New Zealand really need to kickstart this campaign that has been terrible for them thus far. They really have struggled. And then after that, Australia versus Germany. I'm Drew Lilly. Alongside me, I have Amanda Lowry. Colombia with, well, you just look at the team sheet and see there are only 7 names there in the squad. They're going to struggle today, you would have thought.
Yeah, but they're looking pretty tidy on court, and with their strong 3.5, like, it's got a great pass, so I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on Switzerland, and maybe they won't expect it.
That strong 3.5, you could see him there, John Orozco, the man who scored the most tries at the Parapan tournament, where Colombia finished 4th, losing to Brazil in the 3rd and 4th place match. Switzerland with a lot more strength in depth. But the big thing, you were talking about the 3.5 for Colombia. Switzerland can only run a balanced lineup. Yeah,
because these guys are missing their big hard hitter, so they've only got, 2.5s is their highest functionality on court, so they're going to be running a balanced lineup. But what that means is a lot of hands, so potentially they could, if they could just keep it out of the hands of the powerhouse of Brazil, then it could go well.
It's going to be a tough one. Yes, it's going to be a tough one. 10th versus 12th in the world. So 10th Colombia, 12th Switzerland. And there are ranking points up for grabs. So even though neither of these teams can make it through to the semi-finals, they will be looking to get a win. Maybe Switzerland looking to overtake Colombia in the rankings. What amazes me about John Orozco is that he plays without gloves.
I know.
How crazy is that?
The man's a powerhouse. Those hands. Oh.
So everything you would have thought is going to go through Orozco.
He won't be off court.
He won't. You can expect him to play 32 of the 32 minutes. 32 minutes, 4 quarters. 4 quarters of 8 minutes each. Switzerland's starting lineup is going to be Roger Frey, Jeremy Genal, Yves Langhart and Armin Dautai. So the 2 2.5 pointers, Genal and Dautai, Frey a 2-pointer and Langhart a 1-pointer. And there is the starting lineup for Colombia. John Orozco, 3.5-pointer, Carlos Nemé, Uriel Rodriguez and Julian Vargas. So slightly high-low for them, as high-low as they can possibly go. John Orozco looking to win the first tip, and that is exactly what he does.
Still trying to get that pass across. A lot of pressure.
It's looking as if we might have had an immediate turnover, but great wheels there from Nemé for a 1-pointer. You have to get the ball over the halfway line within 12 seconds, and it looked as if Colombia were going to be penalised first up. Christian Hempfling of Germany is the referee that you can see in the background. And so, tit for tat, it's 1 apiece with Armen Dautai scoring there for Switzerland.
And there's a turnover.
Lucky, so the ball comes loose from Orozco, but you could see the other referee that we have on court today, Kim Yun-ho of Korea, and he pointed in the direction in which Colombia are attacking, saying that they are the ones who get that loose ball. The ball went out of play, but it came off either a Swiss player or a Swiss chair. Fired forward there, and going over the line backwards was Uriel Rodriguez. You don't get more points for crossing the line backwards.
Unfortunately.
No, that would be good, wouldn't it?
It would.
1.5 or 2 points for a backwards try. Well, there's obviously a lot of World Wheelchair Rugby officials here. We can suggest that to them a bit later on. Just to spice things up a bit, particularly when it's a group match and you think, well, neither of these teams can make it through to the semis. But as we were saying earlier, ranking points at stake. Colombia 10th in the world, Switzerland 12th. Brazil in between them. And Brazil have been one of the standouts of this tournament. Unfortunately, shocking New Zealand. Now that ball is going to go loose, and it clearly came off Carlos Neme. So that is a turnover, and Switzerland get the first break of service, as it were. They get the first opportunity to score on what was one of their opponent's possessions. Chanel gets it over the halfway line, and it's a big hit there on Dautai. Spins around. They've got the ball over the halfway line. You have to bounce it every 10, which is what Dautai has just done. There's going to have to be another bounce quite soon. And then they have 40 seconds in which to score.
And they're counting down the shot clock. Big pass. Beautiful.
How good was that? It was really on the limit. You can see that, well, it's gone back to 40, the shot clock there that you can see in the middle of your screen towards the left now. But it was down to 2 seconds, and a huge pass from Dautai. It had to be absolutely perfect, and it was. Of course, the easiest way, you risk losing possession with passes, so the easiest way is if you can just keep it in the possession of one person, and that's what Colombia are going to try to do with their number 4, John Orozco.
And they're going to have difficulty getting over half. No, they've made it. Good.
Dautai just quick enough to get it over the line. Neme, the one-pointer, is incredibly quick for someone who is a low pointer.
Absolutely. Nice long pass.
And then good movement up the court by Julian Vargas.
And you can see the whole time that those high pointers are creating screens and blocking threats to make it possible to get across without having to pass.
Dautai off to Frey. We can see 3 on the bench there for Colombia. That is all they've got. You can have substitutions at any time, providing there's a dead ball. You can't do it while play is going on. And you can bring players off and on as often as you like. And you're allowed a squad of 12, but Colombia have come here with just 7 players. They had some visa issues, and obviously it's the other side of the world for them to come as well. It's a huge journey. And we're in a sport where it's not highly paid professional athletes whose job it is just to jet off around the world and go and represent their country.
Exactly, and many of these athletes, particularly low pointers, need care So there's an idea that when you're an athlete, you're autonomous and functional and motivated, and while you might be functional and motivated, you're not autonomous, you need help. So bringing a care team with you, especially from the other side of the world, is a massive cost. So that isn't seen when you see this dynamic sport. You don't see the level of support that goes on in the background.
Yes, you still see the squad of 7 for Colombia, 12 for a lot of other teams. Then you're looking at coaches, assistant coaches, medical staff, mechanics, obviously, because you need... We'll see some equipment changes at some point very soon, and they're amazing equipment changes as that ball is fired forward by Dautai to Genal, and the Swiss just keep their noses in front. But very quick equipment changes where a wheel is changed in the space of 10 or 15 seconds.
And you're looking at $1,000 per wheel.
It is, yes. The tyres are a lot cheaper, but it takes a long time to replace a tyre, so wheels are taken on and off. So when a tyre bursts, you replace the wheel, and then there's a mechanic in the background desperately trying to repair or pump up the tyre and then put it back on the rims, which is what takes so long. So there is, it's like there's a swan or a duck that looks beautiful swimming along, and then underneath the water that you can't see, paddling away furiously. The things that you can't see behind this tournament while we're watching the bashing and crashing and the skills of these players. There are, for every player out on court, there are 5 or 6 that we don't see who are doing work in the background.
Absolutely. Look at that, nice work by that low pointer.
Popped over the top, but blocked there by Orozco. You can see the shot clock is down to 15 if you look to the left. It's getting a bit loose from Switzerland. Desperation stuff. Now, did he call the timeout as he was going down? Chenal, I don't think he had time to do that.
Which is a shame. If you can call timeout while you're falling forward, then you just get an opportunity to reset and you don't lose the ball. Otherwise, it's a turnover.
So that, to me, looks like it is going to be a turnover. Obviously, it's easier said than done to call a timeout while you are crashing to the ground, trying to keep hold of the ball, and you've got a split second in which to think, call the timeout, reset the shot clock to 15 and keep possession. And we'll see there was no mention of a timeout. It's obviously difficult to do the timeout symbol with your hands. Switzerland, though, have got the ball back. We're talking of timeouts. You can see the scores say 7-8 to Switzerland and then 4-2. Apologies to those of you who watch wheelchair rugby day in, day out, and have been watching for years, perhaps decades, and playing it yourself. But for those watching for the first time, maybe, 4 and 2 are the timeouts. 4 of them are the floor timeouts, 30-second ones that the players can take at any time and are used when you're falling and want to stop play, or if you want to reset the shot clock because you don't think you can get the ball over the halfway line within the first 12 seconds, which is what Switzerland are trying to do now.
Nice intercept there.
And there, desperation stuff from Frey to get it over the halfway line within 12 seconds. And great work from all 4 of them, passing through all 4 sets of hands. Or if you don't think you can score before the shot clock expires, or if you're getting to the end of a quarter and want to run down the clock, you can take a 30-second shot floor timeout. And then the 2 underneath that, those are the coaches' timeouts, which last for a minute and can only be taken with a dead ball. But here we have a penalty.
For a reach, I think. Number 9 in the sin bin.
Kristin Hempfling showing there the side of her hand onto an arm, saying that illegal contact was made by Jeremy Genal. So he is going to sit in the box for either a minute or until Colombia score. Colombia 4 on 3, and they're going to cruise through here. So Orozco over the line, and out comes Genal.
So at that point, the low point players were blocking him, therefore he had to call that he was going to inbound the ball in order to be free.
Frey gets bogged down, and that's an incredible pass from Frey to Genal. Genal back to Frey. Orozco for company. Orozco trying to knock him from the side into the cone. If you knock into the cone before one of your wheels has gone over the line, then it's no try.
Beautiful whip for those screens there by Colombia.
Yes, all eyes tend to be on Orozco, but you had Neme and Rodriguez screening a number of the Swiss people to make sure that Orozco had a clear passage. Genal over the halfway line. The two teams trading tries at the moment. Colombia won the first tip-off and had the first possession, but there was a turnover after that. And then there won't be a tip-off at the start of the second, third and fourth quarters. It is merely taking it in turns, and that has gone the way of the Swiss. So a dropped ball there by Carlos Neme, and it bounced off his chair and went out of play. So the Swiss have the chance to get the biggest lead of the contest so far. They've only ever been 1 point ahead. They're going to look to make it 2.
Trying to push him out of court there.
Langhart, the 1 pointer, hands it off to Frey. Langhart knew he wouldn't have the wheels, the mobility to get over. And we've seen another reaching foul
by number 9
given.
Amaya.
It looks like Christian Amaya is the one going into the bin. Amaya, who has come on for Vargas, and immediately goes off, so it's 4-on-3 for Switzerland. Switzerland sticking with their starting lineup. Big opportunity here for the Swiss to make it a 2-point lead. And then after that, as you can see on the match clock, 1 minute 34 left in this first quarter. So it's going to be important for both teams to try to score the last point. If you can score and then not leave your opponents time to reply, then you've got an extra point compared with them, and there's another turnover. This is where we might see a timeout being used unless Genal can get this over the halfway line safely, and he's going to do it. The safest way of doing it is by keeping it yourself rather than throwing out passes, and that's brilliant from Genal. And you wonder why he hasn't gone over and scored. His teammates are telling him exactly how long is left, and they're counting him down to around 55 seconds. For most teams, 55 seconds is the magic mark to score, because possessions can be up to 40 seconds, and that means that even if Colombia take all 40 seconds here, which they're unlikely to do, then Switzerland would still have 15 seconds left. So to counteract that, Colombia scored as quickly as possible. So now there's a lot of mathematics going on, but a 40-second possession now for Switzerland would still leave Colombia with 5 seconds in which to try to score. So the mathematics and the calculations come in at this time of the match.
Trying to keep them, they had to call time, they weren't going to make it in 12.
So a clever use of the timeout there. The Swiss weren't going to get the ball over the line within the allotted 12 seconds, so they take a 30-second timeout, which Christian Hempfling has signalled. It means that the players can all regroup. The Colombians talking amongst themselves, the Swiss rolling over and having a quick word with Adi Moser, who is the one with the beanie on their player coach. So
it was great to see him back on the pitch yesterday.
Indeed, yes, actually taking off the beanie, the scarf, the shell suit jacket, the sweater, the hot water bottle.
Pretending that Switzerland isn't colder than New Zealand.
It's a well heated country, I think, and we're out in the open here at the NZCIS, and there's a giveaway.
22 seconds.
This is ideal for Colombia. Now, if they can run down the clock and then score, they will reduce the deficit to just 1 point, where Switzerland were looking to extend it to 3. Switzerland taking a timeout. And you don't mind taking timeouts as long as you maintain possession and score.
Oh, no, over and back.
So what happened there, Amanda?
It looked like his wheels were pushed over and then he came back into the court again. So it's a Swiss inbound. So that incredible grab and steal has just been wasted.
So there we go. Drama at the end of the first quarter, and it's Switzerland who lead 13 points to 11.